Praise the Lord. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our January 28th work session. I turn it over to City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of City Council. Good afternoon. Before you today, during our work session, we have invited Dr. Blake from Parkview Community, I forget exactly the title, I apologize. Parkview Community Mission Life Skills Institute. I'll just make sure that I get exactly right. And they're going to brief you on, they were here last year. Dr. Blake kind of engaged you. I don't know if many of you have visited the actual location. It's just on the corner there near the McDonald's. That's how I remember it. Don't have the exact address. But they do great work over there. And so Dr. Blake will engage you about that opportunity. And then under work session as well, and I talked to the mayor. Hello, Vice Mayor, Mr. Missions, how's everyone? Talked to the mayor earlier. We have a very robust closed session this afternoon. One of the things I talked to Beverly, our library director, about coming back at a future meeting. I want to be good stewards of your time, so we're going to have Dr. Blake engage you during a work session. I positioned Beverly at a later meeting. We do have a business item briefing, and you'll remember that business item briefings are those elements or aspects or topics that we will eventually bring before you for a vote. What we want to do is engage you upon that exact topic, make sure that there are any questions or any things that you may have about it, that you can ask those, and then you're prepared at a subsequent meeting to take that vote. And obviously there's roll call, and as I acknowledge, we have a big closed session this afternoon, and so that's why I'm asking and talk to the mayor about positioning Beverly for a future meeting. But with that, Mayor, back to you.
Thank you, sir. Our first item is Parkview Mission Life Skill Institute.
Mayor, thank you very much. I'm staying here because I'd like to, if you don't mind, introduce Dr. Blake. And I keep calling him Dr. Blake. I'm going to call him Todd for now. So I got to meet Todd, and I got to visit over at the church. He'll tell you a story about it. If you haven't frequented it, it was a church that was repurposed, or brick by brick, as I understand it, from downtown on Church Street over to its current location. Was a congregation for a number of years. There was a special dinner that was held at some point, and that the people there at that dinner decided that they were going to have this purpose. It ceased being a congregation, I think, in the early 2000s, but has held its mission since then. And so Todd and his people do great work. Todd has many degrees, all from Campbell University, which is the Fighting Camels. I've ridden a camel, never knew it to be belligerent, but they are in North Carolina, apparently. He has great people. His director's here, and you may know the director of Parkview, by his relationship to his son, Ted Delaney. Mr. Delaney is the board chair. There he is waving. We are a big fan of your son, and now we're an even bigger fan of you. There we go. So, Mayor, if you don't mind, I'll bring Dr. Blake forward to engage you and your peers.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council, and I appreciate the opportunity to share today. At Parkview, our mission is to restore the lives of families and communities by building relationships and providing life-changing resources. And one of the ways that we do this is through our Life Skills Institute. LSI exists to equip and empower neighbors in our community with the skills needed for employment, primarily. At LSI, our neighbors have access to classes such as career readiness, computer skills, cooking, financial literacy, and many others. We provide one-on-one mentoring, resume building, interview practice. We dress neighbors for the interview, and we excitedly dress them for the job when they get the job. For our neighbors who use public transportation, we provide bus passes to get to the interview. When they get the job, we provide a 2-week bus pass so they can get to and from the job while they wait on that first paycheck to come in. And so on behalf of Parkview Community Mission, our volunteers, our board, our staff, and most importantly, on behalf of the neighbors that we serve, I want to thank City Council for 2 things: for approving the acceptance of TANF funding from VDSS and supporting city staff who facilitate this grant. The City of Lynchburg is our chief and primary partner in the work that we do at LSI. And you can also see in your packet some of the other partnerships that contribute to our neighbors' success in the work that we do at Parkview, and particularly at LSI. When I began as the executive director at Parkview in late 2021, The first priority given to me as the new executive director for my board of directors was to revamp our Life Skills Institute. Over and over with, as I met with board members, they said the same thing again and again. They wanted Parkview to continue to be able to meet short-term needs like food and clothing, but they also wanted us to be able to provide the kind of life-changing, transformative relationships that fostered upward mobility for our neighbors. Short-term needs and long-term change. And so one of the first things that we did was we revamped our MOUs. We refined our mission for LSI. And in January of 2022, we hired a new director for LSI. You can see Monica Link there. She's our director at Parkview Community Missions Life Skills Institute. She's there surrounded by several of our board members. I tell her all the time she makes me look smart because she was my very first hire when I became the executive director at Parkview. Since that time, since early 2022, you can see the results on pages 3 and 4 for 2022, 2023, and 2024. And I believe very strongly that the data speaks for itself. You can see not only the number of neighbors that have been hired, but also the increasing wages for our neighbors. Their wages have increased by approximately 25% over these past 3 years. We are beating inflation in the wages that they're earning. I would note, you can see that the dip in 2024, I'd note that over the summer, our program director was on maternity leave. A former partner of LSI came to the end of a grant cycle and eliminated a position that was providing services with us at LSI. And there was a delay in approval of grant funding by the state. Despite all that, in the face of all of that, neighbors continued to get hired. And we have since hired an additional staff member for LSI thanks to that grant funding. And so every month we're able to offer more and more opportunities, more classes, more opportunities, more one-on-ones for our neighbors. And put it this way, for less than $100,000 a year in grant funding, 151 neighbors have entered employment since early 2022. Some of those are part-time, most of those are full-time. And together, they stand to earn over $3.2 million in wages annually. Those are wages that are reinvested in the economy that we all live and work in. The return on investment for the taxpayer is over 10 to 1. If someone offered any of us a return of $10 for $1 invested, I think every one of us would take that deal. That's the investment that our neighbors are. They continue to show again and again that they're a good investment. One, most of all, because they are people of worth and value. And two, their thriving is good for all of us. I'd encourage you to read Kate's full story in your packet. I won't read the whole thing, but her story with us typifies our work. It's a mission that's rooted in dignity and relationship, acknowledges each neighbor's unique story, their skills, their gifts, the challenges they've experienced along the way. And so we endeavor to walk with our neighbors as quickly or as slowly as they need to as they seek to transform their lives. Kate's story and all 151 stories of our neighbors entering employment prove that with support, with training, with someone who believes in them, that our neighbors can achieve meaningful change in their lives. I benefit from a relationship wealth. I have had a wealth of relationships over the course of my life that have supported me in all of my goals, personal and professional. We are oftentimes those relationships for our neighbors that they have lacked for so long. Parkview is able to provide those. And so I would say thank you, because this is the transformation that you are helping to make happen in Lynchburg. So finally, what's next? In looking at 2025, we'll continue to help our neighbors enter meaningful, dignified work. We'll seek increased wages and benefits for them. We'll help them earn raises and promotions. And another focus this year is going to be more financial literacy education opportunities. We'll help our neighbors prepare to confidently manage their finances and the wages that they earn so that those cycles of poverty are broken. And so as neighbors come to our other programs, we'll build relationships. Those relationships will help us move from meeting short-term needs to supporting that long-term change. And also add, just at the end, that LSI isn't our only connection with the city. On the last page of your packet, you'll see 6 programs that make up Parkview. One of those programs is Food for Thought. This connects us with the city by providing weekend nutrition to food insecure students in Lynchburg City schools. Administrators and staff identified students who would benefit from weekend nutrition, and we meet that need with pre-packed bags for our elementary school students and on-campus pantries in the middle schools and high schools. These bags and pantries allow us to serve over 1,000 students each week. We promise students that education is a way out of poverty. And we believe that Food for Thought, we believe providing weekend nutrition helps to make good on that promise by making sure that they show up to school on Monday morning ready to learn. It breaks a cycle. And so we're grateful to partner with the city in this way. I appreciate your time this afternoon, and I welcome any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you for the presentation, really appreciate it. And I have done a tour at Park Missions, and the program is amazing. Just the work that they do for our community, the food bag, the clothing closet, the sports locker, so many events you do, job training skills. I mean, it's definitely a treasure for our community, and we're so thankful. That's how we do things together, when we work together in our community to really make change. So thank you for that. Thank you for this presentation. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Wilder.
Anyone else? Ms. Timlin?
I just want to echo Dr. Wilder's sentiment. I had the privilege of coming to some of your events and meeting a few of your staff. Haven't gotten to do the tour yet, but very grateful that you're in the community and for the work that you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Dean?
Thank you for coming, Dr. Blake. I appreciate your presentation. It's very thoughtful, and you do some great work. I think I may have actually purchased something from Kate up at the Liberty. Is she still working up there? This was a few months ago. Kate, the lady you talked about?
Oh, she is, yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I recognize that face. I'm a photographer, so I remember her face. And I think she served me. She had that same smile.
We see that smile every time she comes to visit us, and we're so proud of her.
I would love the opportunity for a tour at some point. If you want to
Be happy to
contact
host
me,
it.
I'd like to schedule that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
I would encourage everybody to do the tour. It's mind-boggling. It's amazing what we have in our community, yes.
Is there anyone else? Ms. Reed?
Hi, Todd. It's so good to see you. Monica, you're awesome. Yeah, it is overwhelming to get over there and see all that you do. I think it is, again, one of those resources that the city just does not realize that we have. Enough people don't still know all that you do. And that's the trouble that I think that we are constantly facing, is that we have this gem of a resource that we're still trying to make sure people are aware of, because what you do is so powerful and so effective to those in need, and how you have it structured. I was just blown away walking through when I did my tour, and then when I've come back to see the presentation of the, I forget exactly the graduation or what was that I attended, where they were showing me their dream boards. What was that, Monica? The Getting Ahead program. That was so wonderful, and getting to have a meal with some of them, that was just wonderful that we're in that program as well. But really just so well done. And again, feeding our kids. I don't think people realize all that y'all do to make sure that our children are eating on the weekends and through the summertime, which is just so essential. So just such a great, worthwhile organization, and needs to continue to be supported and funded, and volunteers all the time. I know that you still need extra hands and always, and making sure people around the community are being fed to your pantry, the whole shopping process, how people do that, and just giving them a dignified experience as well, making sure people feel that they are treated as equals and just loved on. I think is so wonderful. The human experience that they all feel by your staff is just great. So thank you for what you do. Really appreciate it.
Well, much of it involves the city, and particularly LSI, so we, on behalf of all of us, we just want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Brother Todd, for all the great work you're doing up there.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I've had the opportunity to stand out there and mingle with the people, and I enjoy it.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Next week.
So, Mayor, just as a reminder, sometimes I speak fast in my opening introductory. We had talked, you and I, about how robust the closed session, and that we're going to have Beverly ask her back at a different date. And so at this moment, Mayor, if you don't mind, you move to the business item briefings.
Yes, sir, thank you. Business item briefing, Community Development Block Grant and Home, Housing and Non-Housing Goal for 25 through 29 fiscal year, Consolidated Plan fiscal year for 2026 Annual Plan. Ms. Melva Walker.
Good afternoon, Mayor Taylor, Vice Mayor Deemer, and members of City Council. On February 25th, City Council will be conducting a public hearing to review and adopt the housing and non-housing goals for the 2025 through 2029 5-year consolidated plan and the fiscal year 2026 annual action plan within the Community Development Block Grant and Home Program. The Citizen Participation Plan requires that you all conduct a public hearing to review and adopt the needs, goals, and objectives for the Community Development Block Grant Program and Home Program. City Council will be seeking the input of citizens and other interested parties regarding the proposed goals. The 15-day public comment period will be initiated on February 7th through the News in Advance and other forms of social media and email communications. The public hearing will be conducted on February 25th. Last week, just a side note, city staff conducted several public workshops and meetings with the public to receive their input and recommendations, and the Community Development Advisory Committee conducted a public meeting also last week and listened to the public about their thoughts on the goals and objectives. So you all will review that on February 25th.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Melva?
Just really quickly, I know we need to move to closed session in a minute, but I actually want to thank council for the opportunity to serve on CDAC and for the opportunity to work with Mrs. Walker. She's working very hard, and there were a number of people that turned out into the various breakout sessions, and it was very informative. So thank you.
Mr. Wild?
Yes, again, just want to thank Ms. Walker and her team. They are amazing staff. I mean, I love to see where you have so many different pools of people getting comments from different partners with different areas, with different skill sets. It was all at the park, at the community center on by Miller Park, right, last week, and it was so informative. We had a great discussion after that Thursday night, I believe, whatever it was. That Thursday had a great discussion with people. I mean, a lot of things came out. The facilitator was amazing. I can't remember where it came from, but the facilitator was really good. So we just appreciate that work, especially to make sure the community has input. That's what I really love. The serves that benefit the most, they have input for the program, and we love hearing their voices. Thank you for all you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. Roll call. Ms. Ferrari?
No items.
Ms. Reed?
Yes, thank you. So, a couple things. Let me get back on, trying to make sure I have my names right. So, last night we had the first 40 Ways Coalition meeting of the year, and it was wonderful. Jeff Nitz from 518 Family Services was our speaker. He spoke about the effects of childhood trauma and poverty, and how that affects children's behaviors, and then really how we can, as a community, the different resources that we have to help children, support them, whether it's through therapy or just after-school programs, and mentoring programs for kids that are having the effects of trauma in the home. If they don't have support at home, how we can come in with some of the different organizations like the Jubilee Center, Big Brothers Big Sisters, Boys and Girls Club, Iron Lives, and other organizations in the city that help support these kids. So that was a really great speech that he gave. And next month, we're going to be talking about gang activity and how children are being recruited into gangs and how we can, again, intervene as a community and help them there. We also had a great award this past, 2 weeks ago, or week before, on the 16th. We awarded the Teacher of the Year to Yana Stamps-Glover from Heritage Elementary School, so congratulations to her. She has done a tremendous job with some of our very special needs children over there, so congratulations. And then also, we had the Martin Luther King Jr. Breakfast this past Monday, or last Monday, and with the Martin Luther King Committee in the city, and that was really wonderful and well-attended, and it was a really nice event, so I was glad to be there. So that's all I have.
Dr. Wild?
Again, just want to reiterate that the Martin Luther King breakfast was wonderful. They had one last night, a reception at Randolph College. The guest speaker was the lady from Living Color, the actress. I can't think of her name. I presented her information, something from the city, but anyway. But it was an amazing presentation last night. So glad to see universities bringing in people and talk about our community. And now all voices are so important. And I just want to remind our citizens, we have budget sessions coming up. We have different forums. We have the forums coming up about the CDBG funding. Just make sure your voice is there. Make sure you look at the city website and all the information is out there so you can attend those meetings and make sure your voice is heard. Thank you.
Mr. Dean?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also attended the MLK breakfast and enjoyed myself immensely. It was a great meeting and a great full room. I was proud to see that the student who won the essay award was from Heritage High School, which is in Ward 3. I also saw that the Teacher of the Year was also from Heritage Elementary, which is Ward 3. So I'm pretty proud of that. Those folks are doing a great job. I got to take a picture with Miss Stamps, and I told her I knew her great uncle, and she was surprised to find that I had also attended Heritage Elementary at one point. So that was good. I also went to the Lakeland Association group meeting about some upcoming development in their area, and got to meet a lot of my neighbors, because that's one neighborhood over from mine. And I've got a ride around with one of the developers for the development on the other side of Heritage that has gotten some attention, and so I hope to learn a lot in that as well. I got a great tour of the museum system. Almost lost my hearing in the bell tower, but we avoided that by about 5 seconds. So I was warned and got down as quickly as I could and managed to survive. But if you have not been to the City Museum, that was the center of Lynchburg life for so many years. And the programs they have there and the displays, all the things you can do, I highly encourage you to get out to that. Also got to see point of honor areas that I had never seen before, and that was great. Both of those are real gems in our city, and I'm very proud that our museum system is doing a good job stewarding those and taking care of them for the citizens. So it's a lot of going on. I've tried to keep busy and learn. Steep learning curve, as you can imagine, being a new guy, but I'm drinking from the fire hydrant as quick as I can. And on that note, I'm actually supposed to do a ride along with the fire department. So I hope they don't actually make me drink from a fire hydrant. But based on my previous 2 visits and tours, it should be exciting. So hopefully it will be. Thank you.
Mr. Mitchell?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So a couple things. One is make sure they flush the hydrant before you have to drink out of it. Second is dovetailing on something Dr. Wilder said, that I'll probably never be able to say this in a meeting, but because he brought up In Living Color, Homie, Don't Play That is just sticking in my head. So if you've never seen it, that's a hilarious TV show. But I appreciate all of you guys, and thank you everybody for being here. I got a laugh out of Dr. Wilder over there.
She was a living single.
Oh, I was
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Well, but
She
I
was
got
an
to say
she was
it.
an
I got to
actress.
say it.
She was an actress.
Outstanding.
I was tracking you, though.
So a couple items, though. One is basketball, Impact Sports, Thomas Road kicked off, and that's been great. The drive out there and the number of kids that have showed up has just been incredible. So I'm asking the community to pray for me, because I volunteered to assistant coach. I've never coached basketball in my life, but handling 3rd graders is not that much of a problem. So that's that. And I don't really have anything else to add, but I appreciate what they're offering to our community for that. That program is growing. That's something that kids need to know about, because it is just exploding, and they're signing kids up and teaching them how to play sports.
Thank you. Ms. Tillman?
Thank you. I first want to echo the comments of council, just the honor that it's been to participate in a number of community events this week. There have been some really excellent events in our community, and it's been a real blessing to participate. And then again, Ms. Walker has done a lot of work collecting information, surveys from the community, bringing people together in focus groups. And so where there's opportunity to still offer input, please reach out to her because she's doing a great job collecting that information. And then lastly, kind of another survey or piece of information that we have coming up has to do with Lynchburg City Schools with the new superintendent search. And there's going to be a survey that's posted online for people to offer input as far as what we're looking for in a new superintendent, challenges they may face in various aspects of our community. So I'd really encourage people to keep an eye out for that and participate. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I have no items. Closed session.
Yes, Mayor. I'll read the language aloud. The consideration of a closed meeting to discuss the possible resolution of a pending city lawsuit pursuant to sections 2.2-3711A7 and A8 of the Code of Virginia, 1950 as amended, and consideration of a closed meeting to discuss the disposition of publicly held real property, namely property owned by the city, let by the city, and to be potentially sold for economic development purposes, where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body pursuant to section 2.2-37A3 of the Code of Virginia, 1950 as amended, and consideration of a closed meeting to discuss the investment of public funds where competition or bargaining is involved, where, if made public initially, the financial interests of the city would be adversely affected pursuant to section 2.2-3711A6 of the Code of Virginia, 1950 as amended, the topic of the closed session being specific to granting a city franchise, and consideration of a closed meeting to discuss the investment of public funds where competition or bargaining is involved, where if made public initially, the financial interest of the governmental unit would be adversely affected pursuant to section 2.2-3711A6 of the Code of Virginia, 1950 as amended. The subject of the closed meeting being specific to negotiations regarding the Campbell County Utilities and Service Authority sewer capacity request. And lastly, consideration of a closed meeting to discuss the appointments for council representation to local, regional, and state boards and commissions, Virginia First Cities, Virginia Municipal League, Central Virginia Planning District Commission, Central Virginia Transportation Planning Organization, Council of Local Elected Officials, Lynchburg Redevelopment Housing Authority, LYNCAG, and Lynchburg Parking Authority pursuant to section 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of Virginia, 1950 as amended.
Thank you. With that, may I have a motion to go into closed session?
Second.
Is there any discussion? No?
Ready for the vote? Councilmember Feraldi?
Yes.
Councilmember Mischins?
Yes.
Councilmember Reed?
Yes.
Councilmember Timmer?
Yes.
Councilmember Wilder?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Deemer?
Yes.
Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
The motion passes.
We're now in the closed session.